Hey, Big V here, Verl Workman. We're talking about the power of teams. Specifically today, I'm excited to talk about what we can do better to improve as a team. So how do you improve your team? How do you go from where you are to where you really want to be? It all starts by being intentional. If you'll listen carefully to this video, I'm going to give you the 5 specific things that you can do to improve your team, and I'm going to give you a copy of The Unexpected Impact of Teams in Real Estate, the full study and a debrief on what we've learned from team leaders and team members on what they want from their teams. So here's what we're going to talk about. Number 1, a good team leader knows that in order to develop good people, they have to have a few key things. The first one is clearly defined goals. We want to go from where to where by when. The second thing is clearly defined roles. Who on the team is going to do what? Usually when there's dysfunction on the team and people struggle, it's because people don't know what they're supposed to do, or they aren't clear about it. And so they use I didn't know, or it's not my job. Number 3 is understanding your role as a leader is business development and people development. Oftentimes team leaders think that their job is selling houses, and nowhere in there is in the job description of a leader is selling homes. It's business development and people development. And I would say that people development is equally, if not more important than business development. Because if you develop your people right and you teach them to develop business, then everybody wins. And then the next one is, and this really comes from the study, is we learned that team members want to see an example of how to do it right. You've heard me say before, and I'll say it again, that the best trainer, the best teacher is the game. I watched my kids play competitive soccer for a lot of years, and they would show up to practice and the coach would have them do all these things. They would do all these drills and they do all these things. But during game times is when they really took their game to the next level. Practice is when they learned the skills, but how they really developed was playing in a competitive league above where they were used to playing. And by playing in a more competitive league and playing up, they got better at the game. The best teacher was not practice. That was the best developer. The best teacher was the actual games. And the better coaches learned that you don't coach during game time, you coach during practice, because the game was doing the teaching. In one of my favorite books, and we use a copy of that, it's written by Patrick Lencioni. He wrote a book called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. In Patrick Lencioni's 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, he talks about the 5 reasons teams fail. If you want to be effective as a team leader and you want your team to get unstuck and grow, you have to eliminate the dysfunction. Those dysfunctions are, number 1, absence of trust. This is where I want you to think about where absence of trust would show up. I don't trust my team members, so I don't give them my A leads. I don't trust my team leader. I don't think that they're sharing with me or developing me. I don't trust the client, so I don't get my buyer agreements or seller agreements signed. I don't trust my team members, so we can't have each other's back. But there's an absence of trust on the team is fully dysfunctional. Trust is one of the most core ingredients, and the way you develop trust is by getting to know people. When you revert back to the previous video on creating vision boards, and that's where you start to learn about people and what drives them, what their mission and their values are, and that's where trust begins. Trust also begins through effective development. When you're in training together and you practice and you role play and you know they've been trained the right principles and how to do the right thing for the client, your level of trust improves. Number 2, fear of conflict, and this is a big one. Being afraid of conflict happens because of an absence of trust. When someone is afraid to tell you that you haven't done a good job or you didn't do something right, it's because they don't trust how you're going to respond. Or when a team member makes a mistake and they don't want to bring that to the team because they're afraid of the ramifications, that's when you have issues. Conflict is healthy if we attack process, not people. I like to say we have process problems, not people problems. And so when you have conflict, it's healthy conflict because we're attacking a process and trying to get better. The third of the 5 dysfunctions is lack of commitment. Think about where that shows up. Lack of commitment to the team, lack of commitment to the client, lack of commitment to the team member, lack of commitment to the team leader. Biggest one that shows up is lack of commitment to your families. That's when your team members show up, but they don't actually do any work. And so they are pretending to be busy, but their family thinks they're working and they're not doing anything that moves them closer to their goals, which shows a lack of commitment, which ends up being a lack of trust and creates all kinds of conflict in the home. Avoidance of accountability is one of my favorite dysfunctions because it's what most team leaders don't want on their team. Team leaders like to believe they don't have a responsibility or a role to hold people accountable. Well, the opposite of that is actually true. Accountability is not something you do to someone by beating them over the head because they haven't done something. Rather, accountability is an environment or a culture you create where people get to choose it. They choose accountability because they want to do the right thing. When people don't know whether or not their actions are consistent with their goals, they continue doing the bad actions. Accountability happens when they ask for feedback and they want to know what's going on. They want want to know that if they do these activities, they're going to get a positive result. It's going to make an impact on their lives and in their families. Accountability is love. It's not something you do to someone because you don't like them. It's an environment you create because you care so deeply about the individual. Accountability is a choice you create, and it's part of your culture. The last of the 5 dysfunctions is simple, and it's the inattention to results. And that means we don't measure and we don't track the right things. You as a team leader, and your team members should know this, your responsibility is to create stability and security for the people you lead. That means you have to run a business that's profitable. If you don't have profits in your business and you're not profitable, then your team members feel insecure. And when they feel insecure, it causes them to look elsewhere. And so when you're running a business where you're overpaying your people, or you're not paying attention to expenses and you're not making adjustments as necessary as the market demands, it starts to create discord. So you have to focus on tracking the right things. And the most important thing is your net profit, then it's your expenses, and then the other things we track are the activities and whether or not we're consistent with achieving the goals we've set out to accomplish together as a team. When you create a team that has trust, that has an absence of conflict, that has a commitment to the team member, that has and tracks the right things, that creates a culture of accountability, what happens is you build a team that allows people to grow. And growth happens because of failure. I like to say that when you allow people to fail, you allow them to grow. I mean, what if you never let your kids fail? What if you never let them make a mistake and they always had to be perfect? Number one, they'd grow up with a massive amount of anxiety. And number two, they'd never feel like they could do anything right. But when they learn to work through problems through failure and then have success, they get the personal satisfaction that happens when they've accomplished something that was hard. We have to let our people become great by failing. And it's really hard for us to do because we have all this experience in real estate. And so we think nobody can do it as good as us. The reality is the reason we're good is because somebody let us fail. Are you letting your people fail? And then are you picking them up and then teaching them how to be better and improve? Failure is not a bad thing. Failure is a natural part of the process of growth. Without failure, we can't have growth. In the team study, 26% of the people studied, almost a quarter of the people said that there's a massive amount of lack of trust between the team leader and the team member. For those of you that represent that group, you have to eliminate that. We also learned that they want an example. We also learned the different generation types and what they're looking for and what type of leadership. Here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to go right now and I'd like you to download the Unexpected Impact of Teams in Real Estate, the full study. Now, this is a study we had commissioned by a company outside of real estate to come in and really understand the impact teams are having on real estate and how to deliver what our team members are looking from their team leaders. I want you to download it, read the highlights, and then start implementing the things that your team members are looking for in growing your team. So the question is, can you do better as a team? The answer is yes if you eliminate dysfunction. Number two is if you have clearly defined roles and responsibilities. And last, if you remember that your job as a leader is business development, but more importantly, it's people development.